Welcome to the latest installment of ABL Advisors video series featuring thought leaders from the commercial finance industry. I'd like to welcome our guest today, Eldon Richards, Chief Technology Officer of IDS Secured Finance Technology. Thanks very much for being here today, Eldon.
Thank you very much, Mike.
I'd like to start in on today's topic, if that's all right with you, and that is we're going to discuss your insights on how advances in technology are impacting and will continue to impact the asset-based lending industry. And with that being the case, I'll just start right in on the first question. What technologies have the greatest opportunity to impact the future direction of the asset-based lending industry from your perspective, Eldon?
Great question, Mike. I think now is really an exciting time in technology. There's a lot of things that have been coming out that I think can really have an impact on this industry, as we're seeing in other industries as well. So like we see with a lot of other B2B process-based industries, automation is a huge area that we're seeing. And I think this is an area that in general there's better adoption in more of the B2C, so consumer-based technologies, but now we're really seeing improvement on the B2B scenarios as well. And so this could be, there's a lot of manual steps that we have in our businesses these days, and a lot of these now with technologies that are becoming available, we can streamline those quite a bit. So anywhere from situations where we're pushing paper and documents around, say during our origination, or the ongoing monitoring of our contracts or asset values and so forth, with the technologies that we're seeing now between robotic process automation, rules-based decisions being made, algorithms, machine learning, et cetera, we can see a lot of opportunities to improve our efficiency through that. So I think that's one a big area, and decisions that are based on parameter-based rules I think are another one that we'll see here also. One other really big one I think is just adoption of cloud technologies and software as a service in general. And while I think the first part, if you think about automation in general in a B2B setting, we think about the overall costs of running a business and all of the manual labor we have, and so we would normally focus on that first. But if you think about the efficiencies that can be gained by businesses adopting SaaS and cloud, is while that may not cut as much cost, right, and improve the financial efficiency as much, it can have a huge impact, on the agility of your business. You think about the time that it takes to go through standard IT processes for an organization. If you have software that's installed on premise or that's custom software, every customer who's utilizing that has to build up that technical ability and utilize their standard change processes and so forth to manage that. Where working with a SaaS vendor, that knowledge is held by the creator of the software, can do that with the scope and scale that you can never match in individual customers, and then and therefore have processes that are optimized for that scope and scale, and take those to another level of agility for the business, which creates a huge advantage, for asset-based lending and other B2B industries.
Okay, great. That's interesting, and especially the part about the agility, because today's market being so competitive, without that, it's going to be difficult for folks to continue to move forward and compete in this marketplace. So I'm going to go into the second question here, and then we hear a lot about data analytics these days. We hear it in every industry, but we hear it even more and more in the commercial finance industry. While it's not new to look at data to manage your portfolio in any commercial lending scenario, there is a move to use data for more predictive capabilities, and you touched a little bit on some predictive analysis. How does the concept like machine learning or deep learning apply to the asset-based lending market?
Yeah, another very good question, and this is another area where I think there's just been an explosion of knowledge around machine learning and deep learning that are applicable in this industry and many others. And just to put that into context, so I've been working in technology for over 25 years now, and much of what I've worked on throughout my career has been very focused on data and unlocking the value of data, putting that data to work. And really, for the first time a few years ago, I felt like we were finally, as a technology, profession across the the world, are finally getting to the point where we can really start getting good value out of that, and that's because of machine learning. And what we've seen is the advancement of algorithms. Cloud computing has brought the costs to process data down, and to create and gather data. And every few years, humankind creates more data than we've created in all of our history up to those few years, right? It's just that it's literally growing at an exponential rate. So we see that that this is something that we will see it becoming bigger and bigger as we go forward. And there's a number of different use cases that we can think of for the ABL market. There's simple ones and ones that we hear that are maybe more generic. Things like chatbots for support, right? That's using a deep learning capability to understand human language and go back, but it's something that can be done kind of off the shelf and provides benefits to businesses in general. But also things like credit decisions, right? That and being able to customize those for high volume organizations that have a lot of data, to be able to to fine tune that to for your clientele, or for regions or particular industry sectors that you're serving. There are also, of course, other more complex cases, right? So when we're dealing with things like monitoring what's happening to asset values and to companies in an uneven way with uneven application of risk. And I think that the pandemic has really underlined this for us. That if you think back a year ago, when everybody was just starting to deal with these changes, governments were trying to figure out how to protect their people and started to lock things down and so forth. What we saw was a very uneven impact to different industries, different areas, depending on what local governments were applying. And hospitality industry was hit very hard, but early days, at least, construction industry wasn't hit so hard. And I bring all that up because that, in order to navigate that, especially for a large organization who's working with many client organizations across industries, it's really hard to keep up with that and to be able to make good risk decisions if you're originating new loans, and if you have them, to know how to deal with customers in terms of interest rates and forgiveness or and different things that that you need to deal with. And that's where data comes in, and being able to bring the application of what's going on with the various industries economically, what's going on with, in this case, the pandemic, but the same thing could be said for natural disasters or even elections and things that have impacts, and to be able to utilize machine learning to inform decisions on a very granular basis, I think is a huge opportunity for ABL. And I'd also say, just one of the things that these technologies do really well, and if we compare this to quote unquote plain old data analytics, is that as embedded technologies, they can be connected with recommender systems, or they can actually with bots and things that actually are taking action for people in situations where the model can be highly confident in what should happen next. That can add to automation as well. So I think really there's quite a few. I just mentioned a few of those. There are quite a few use cases, and really look at this as being a really exciting area going forward for ABL.
Well, it's a total umbrella approach where you can look at everything from business origination through portfolio management to assessing potential risks within the portfolio on a regular basis. So and taking the opportunity to take advantage of the data to do this and let the data learn from itself. So this is very interesting. Now, my final question is going to be about the customer experience, which is important for all lenders in any sector of the commercial finance industry. How do you feel that technology can really improve the customer experience? Because that's a critical piece of not only having a secure portfolio and being efficient, but experience of the customer is critical. How does technology improve that experience?
Yeah, so there's really kind of three areas I'd like to focus in on that. So one is as businesses, as lenders go through digital transformation, we can simply make it easier to interact with us, right? And getting rid of a lot of the paper and faxing and or emailing of documentation and embedding that into the core systems that are running our businesses. That is one I think that makes things really easy, and especially as time progresses and we see more millennials being involved in leadership positions and so forth, and they're more digitally savvy, that becomes the norm, right? That we need to react to. So I think that's one. Leveraging things like for the second one, leveraging AI and machine learning and data in general can empower our workers to be more informed and be able to be more real time with our customers in terms of making decisions and so forth, and again shortening that time frame and just making that experience better. And I think the third one is it kind of relates to that in agility, but back to what we were discussing earlier about leveraging things like cloud technologies and improving our overall business agility. I think that also allows us to deal with the trends that our customers are bringing to us or that they're facing as well, and be able to address change in the marketplace much more rapidly, instead of year-long implementations of new technology, being able to say, I need this change now, and a week later you've got it, or a day later, or that's the promise of SaaS and of cloud technologies, and that can really be leveraged to now address customer changing needs in a rapid manner.
Yeah, and it's interesting because to use the word agility again, and also being nimble. This is an opportunity to stay nimble in an environment that's rapidly changing. The expectations of customers continue to evolve on a regular basis, so this allows for that adjustment at all times. That covers the questions I had for you today, Eldon, but if I left anything out that you'd like to address, please let me know. Is there anything you'd like to add for any reason?
Mike, no, this has been a great session, and thanks for talking about that. Thanks for keying on agility, right? We really see our role as empowering agility, right? Helping our customers to be agile, because we feel like that's really necessary for business success. So, thanks for that.
You're welcome, and thanks for being here today, Eldon, and wish you have a good rest of the week, and that you and the team stay safe, and we'll be talking to you soon again.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.